The following program has been rated GE by the Kenya Film Classification Board. It is therefore suitable for general family viewing.
Hello viewer, welcome to our today's episode on Chungu cha Jamii with me, Kate Waliaro. Now I hope you're still hanging in there even with oil prices all over the place and kama tunapimiwa kama dawa, right? Anyhow, life has to go on, and as usual, Chungu cha Jamii prepares us for life. Now today we have an awesome conversation on how we are going to prepare for our taking our students to Form 1 and how we are going to set them up for success as they get in. So today I'm not alone. I have a gentleman with me who is going to walk us through this journey from the beginning, how we are going to prepare and how you as a student, you as the mother, you as the teacher, we are going to help each other so that we can create a generation that is successful tomorrow, that we can depend on tomorrow, and that can be depended on by the nation. So you're most welcome to join in the conversation on our SMS line 21144 and even on our social media handles at GBS TV Africa. Now, I'm not alone, yes, I have a very sharp gentleman. You're most welcome.
Asante.
Kindly introduce yourself to our viewer.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Moses Kimani. I'm a teacher. I've been teaching for the last, I would say, 7 years or so. I play a big role in schools, assisting parents with, seeing their students succeed in high school, and also assisting them with information regarding how to prepare. Kate, this is a time when, it's critical for the parents and the students who are joining Form 1, because other than, being a transition period from primary to high school, it's also a very critical stage in their development, because it's that time of puberty, just so you can imagine there is that human developmental growth that's taking place, and there's this other transition on matters academics. Now, if you combine those, you realize this is such a critical period in a student's life. So I hope that our viewers will learn a few things from our discussions.
I'm sure they will.
And I wish you to just stay with us so that we have this discussion together.
Wow, thank you very much for coming. And it's a very critical moment, as you said, because we are opening a new chapter for someone's life. So we want to know how to best prepare, and not just prepare, but set them up for success. Because we don't want to just prepare and then at the end of it all we find that we messed up somewhere, or the journey was for nothing, or set for failure. So that's why you're here, so that you can walk us through this journey, because I'm sure a lot of parents are wanahangaika. Let me use the word wanahangaika. They don't know where to start, and you can see the economy at this point in time. There's a lot going on, but then we still have to keep sane and move forward, because at the end of the day, things in life must move forward. So how do we prepare? How is a parent supposed to prepare at this point in time?
All right, let me first appreciate that, yes, the economy is not at its best. There's very high cost of living. And you also mentioned that this is not, we are taking very young children to high school, and that is a transition. So this is not the place to mess. So really, they must settle well in school, and they must therefore be set for success in high school. So you asked me, how are the parents going to prepare? First, I do not know whether all the parents know that they're supposed to take their children, or the students are supposed to report on the 3rd of May.
3rd of May.
3rd of May. That is a date set by the government to join the high school. It's also important that I mention that in the spirit of 100% transition, every parent must ensure that their child goes to high school. The government has paid for the child already, quite a lot of money. And actually, according to the policy documents, one of them being the Constitution, education is not just basic, it's been made free. And therefore, in the same spirit, then the parent must ensure that their children go to school. But now, how do they prepare in this economy and all that? And also there's the issue you've had, people complain, there was a lot of acrimony when the selection process of the high school was done.
Yeah.
And some parents were saying, oh, my child was called in a school that's really far from where we stay. And they're feeling like that's not even a good school. And then the question is, which is a good school? You know, what is a good school? When the parent says, this is not a good school, or the child says, Mom, I don't like that school, it's not a good school, what exactly have they considered? So there are those parents, and I've seen parents going around looking for schools, you know, trying to get a better school. They've been allocated to a certain school, be it a sub-county school, county school, whatever, but they need, or they probably have felt, now I need a better school, you know. So I've seen them going round and round, and this is a time when some other people can also take advantage of the parents, so I think that's also something to consider.
Sure.
First, let me just start from what I've just alluded to. What is a good school, and what should a parent be looking for? And what is the criteria to know that school A is not good and school B is good? So first thing first, academics. You know, schools are supposed to be centers of academic excellence.
Sure.
And then we have other things. So how would a parent know that this is a good school for my child? So there are two things to consider. One, you need to consider the academic performance of the school.
Sure.
And don't look for so many, you know, don't look for like 5 or 10 years. Just need to look at the last 3 years. How has the school performed in the last 3 years?
Okay.
And what is the trend? Has the performance been going up, or has the performance been going down?
Okay.
So if the performance has been going up, then I think that's a school you may consider. But even as you're looking at the performance of the school, you also need to consider the performance of your child in the last KCPE. And because you know your child better, then you should also be able to consider maybe the internal exams that they have done. You obviously know the ability of your child. So taking a child who is probably performing at a low level, let's say a child performing at 200 marks, and looking for a school where the other students are performing at 400, you're not setting that child for success, because I can assure you the child may not fit. So even as you're looking for a school that's performing well academically, you also need to consider the level your child is performing.
Sure.
What is the ability of your son or daughter? Then you can say, my son fits here. Other than academics, but it's a big thing. Academics is a big thing, because really, like I've said, schools are supposed to be centers.
It's more of the major thing that parents look for.
Yes. There are other things to consider. Most parents just consider performance, but also it's good to consider what are the other programs the school offers. Are there sporting activities? Are there clubs and societies? Now, you may ask, or you may request the school to take you for a tour, and just you as a parent, you know, take a look at the facilities they have, and see whether that's where you want your child to be. Maybe your child is good in sports, and you know that from primary. Now, the high school that you've chosen for that child, can you just check whether they have the sporting activities and the facilities that they need?
Okay. So it's okay for a parent at this time to just take a prior visit to the facility, to the school?
Yes.
And look around.
In fact, that's very important. Most private schools, they have what they call open days, where parents are invited to just be taken for a school tour. They are given the history of the school, you know, told about the various items they have, programs they have, and the parents also have an opportunity to ask questions.
Okay.
For public, I haven't seen that happening, but I know if you request that, I don't think anyone would really deny you the opportunity to just go through the school and see whether that's where you want your child to be. Remember, the child is going to be in that school for the next 4 years.
That's
so
true.
really, if you care for that child,
Going to be a home.
Yes, exactly. So you must really find out whether that is a place you want your child to be in the next 4 years. Yeah. I mentioned something about clubs and societies. Those are programs that enrich the student, not just, mostly we concentrate on academics, but there are other things that make up a whole person. Holistic training of a child is not just in academics, but also in character, the value systems that they will get from those activities.
That's true.
So those ones you get from extracurricular programs, like the clubs and the societies.
I've seen that come majorly on people, because if you find that maybe a child is not able to perform as maybe a parent would want, but they excel on the extracurricular activities, and this becomes a lifelong activity for them that feeds them. There's this lady, let me talk of this lady that I admire. She's Catherine Kamau, she's an actress. She keeps saying that this actress began to be nurtured in high school, and now she's a big brand, and she has excelled. She didn't excel very well in academics, but you can see the talent got to be raised from high school.
Yes, it's true. It's from those other extracurricular activities where the students are able to identify and nurture their talents. And even if they don't go as far as Kate has gone, even in the process of learning, as they interact with other students, they get to learn those softer skills like leadership. They get to learn honesty, integrity. Those are important values that builds their character. It builds who they become later in life. So even if it doesn't have that monetary aspect of it, like for Kate, who is now doing it out there, of course, to get something in terms of money, even if the student doesn't excel to that point, at least they're able to gain those softer skills that are very important in other things.
That's true.
There's something else to look into when you're looking for a school. And this goes mostly for those parents who've opted for private schools, affordability. So we've looked at academics, programs, and I'm very keen on programs. So it's not just academics. The other thing is affordability. Can a parent afford? And here, the parent needs to look at it long term. This is not a one time. Now you have 100,000 today, and you think, no, I can pay this school. But how about next year? How about the year after? How about the year after? Those are 4 years. So think long term, right? You may have a boom right now, and you're feeling, no, I can afford this school, banana, right? And you sure, me, I want my kid to be there. But then ask yourself, will you still be able to pay the same school fees next year? And looking at how the economy is, look at what is going to happen. In the next 3 or 4 months, this is a very vulnerable period because of the election. It's an electioneering period. We know how turbulent the situation becomes with regards to the economics of the country.
And even the elections and...
So, and we've just come from COVID, so you can imagine that period also. So really there is a lot to consider when it comes to the level of, the affordability in terms of, are you able to sustain the child in a school? I'll tell you something. I've seen students get really stressed. They're not like us. As when we were in school and you are sent home, you'd be very happy. And sometimes we would hide the pay slip so that you sent home together with the others. These kids of today, and I'm saying this as a teacher who's been there, and I'm seeing them, they feel it comes with, being sent home comes with a bit of inferiority complex. They feel like, no, why is my parent not able to pay? And actually some of them go ahead to call that neglect. They feel like the parents are not careful with their lives. They've neglected them.
Wow.
And that's a bad feeling for a child who is 14 years to have because it's going to stick with them for quite some time.
That's true.
So to avoid that kind of distress, please look at your pockets properly and just ensure that whatever plan you have, the financial plan you have it for 4 years. And by the way, remember, it's probably in a family setup. That means you may also be having other children who are
That's
following
true.
up. Maybe this is just one child who is joining Form 1. So don't use all the resources,
for
to
one
go to a
person.
very good school. And by the way, by good here, I mean, we have this thing where we look at price and call it quality. So that if the school is pricey, then you
It's
think that's
quality.
where you get the best education.
Yeah.
That's not always true. Sometimes you can get some good schools doing the same thing, but at an affordable, reasonably cheaper, school fees.
Yeah.
So it's good to also consider. That's why I'm saying the parents should be able to think long term. That is on schools. Now, there are parents who are still going around to look for schools. Please do that before.
They're shopping, window shopping.
Yes, they're doing window shopping with schools. Please kindly do that early enough before that of May, because it's important that the student joins the first day and joins with the others. I'll tell you why
That
later.
of May is in the next 1 or 2 weeks.
2 weeks. So that means if the parent is looking for a school, latest by Friday they should be able
Should
to
have found
have
a school.
settled for a school, because the other logistics after settling for a school, you'd be given a list of items you need to have, the uniform
And these days
and all
it's
those
very
things.
long.
Yeah. So yeah, it's actually a very long list. So really,
Yeah.
you need some time to go around and buy those items.
Sure.
So by Friday, I think every parent should have settled for a school. The other part is on finances. I think I've mentioned a bit of the finances, but I want to look into budgeting. Now you've decided this is a school, and by the way, also involve the child in the selection of the school. Don't just choose a school that you like. It's possible I love the school maybe because I wanted to join the school, but I never even got the opportunity.
Sure.
And the child really doesn't care about that school. They have a school they have in mind. So consult. And even when you feel like maybe the child choice is not good, let them know why their choice is not good and why your choice is good. So have that conversation, involve them, because if they don't like the school,
They'll
then
never like it.
they'll never like it for forever. For those 4 years, it's going to be very hard for them. All right. So let's think about a parent who's already picked a school. The next thing should be the items that are required, budgeting. And here you find a lot of stress with both parents and the students, because you've heard of how expensive uniform is. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can imagine. So it's becoming stressful. I even heard the CS mention one time that if the uniform becomes too expensive, just first let the child to get to school, then you'll deal with issues of uniform later.
So they've allowed for students to go with all colors.
Well, it's not like a policy. It's just, I think he mentioned as a comment, trying to emphasize the fact that it's about the child learning and not having those items. Okay. So that you don't send away a student who's come to learn just because they don't have the school uniform.
Okay.
So then the parent has already, we've said the parent has picked a school. Now they need to budget properly. And budgeting properly here, I mean, try to look into what is most needed and avoid wastage. We are in a very turbulent economic situation.
Yeah.
We just came from issues of fuel, and the prices have skyrocketed and all that. So you can imagine parents are operating on very meager resources.
Yeah.
So budgeting becomes very important. So once you decide this is a school, you have the list of items that are required. Go early. We are these people who love the last minute.
Yes.
And you'll see.
You should see the banks on
You'll
when
see
the schools
on
open.
second will be on Monday.
Yeah.
You will see how the bookshops will be. All parents in the bookshops, the school uniform and all that. So I advise the parents to have that list and start looking for those items as early. Then when you're budgeting, when you have the uniform, now you're budgeting for the personal effects, you know, those things that students need to use while in school. As a teacher who has sat on the admission desk, I have seen a lot of wastage. You know, there's a parent who is thinking, I want my child to get the best. So my child will go to school very comfortable. But in search of that comfort, you know, trying to make the student comfortable, sometimes they do a lot of wastage. And they channel the resources where they're not required. So, like, for example, you'll find a student who's come with, like, a whole, you know, 2 rolls of 10-pack tissue paper. And you're asking yourself, it's just a month? Because, by the way, once they report on that of May.
These days the terms are very short.
They are very short. And again, we have a midterm in 1.5 months. So really, how many rolls of tissue paper can that child use? Do you really need a 10-pack? Do you need a 20-pack? Because I've seen that. And you've seen a student come with like 5 bottles of lotion, you know, like 3 bar soaps this size. You're asking for what? You know, it's just a month. Really, even if it's in your house, you don't use all that, you know. So what is important, and I call this, the parent must be able to visualize what the student will need every single day for a week. Once they have decided this is what you're going to use for a week, then they can multiply that by the number of weeks that they need. For example,
That's true.
once the student wake up on Tuesday, that is, no, Wednesday of 4th, what will they need? When they wake up, they'll need to go to the bathroom, so they'll need tissue. Think about it, write it down. They will need toothpaste, they'll need toothbrush, they'll need slippers. Because you see, we see a lot of distress, especially for us who teach in boarding schools. Because a student came, now they don't have slippers, and they're supposed to go to the bathroom and bathe and all that. So you have issues in the first day, and the student gets stressed the first day. It becomes now an issue of first trying to settle them down. The parents are already far. It becomes a whole confused. Once the student is confused the first day, you can be sure the whole month they are going to be confused. They're very young.
That's true.
You know that, yeah? So think about, visualize what will the student need. Now, when they come from the bathroom, what will they need? They will need a backpack to carry some books from the dormitory to the class. What is in that backpack? Their books. Which books are they supposed to have? Do they have plates? Do they have spoons? Do they have cups? Because again, that's another, you know, we look at parents just pay school fees and then they think they're ready.
You to hold that thought. When we come back, we're going to exhaust all that.
All right.
Now, my dear viewer, I hope you're coming along with us and you can see how much we are being prepared on, especially you, the parent. You need to think about the academics of the school your child is going to. You also need to think about your financial position as of now and even looking at other factors so that you don't have to take your child to a school that is going to overload you and it is going to be stressful both for you and for the child. And there's also the other extracurricular activities that you need to look at. So my dear parent there, think along with us, note these things down. We are also looking at the budgeting at the moment and we are going to come back and look at that more. So we are going to take a sip of water and please don't touch that dial. We'll be right back with more.